Hey, how are you today? This is Mike Fagan. I'm from Atlantic City. I'm joined with Josh Ziegler. He's in Atlanta, Georgia. This is Waiter Nation Podcast. We do it at least once a week, and we talk about everything that's going on in our industry, from the recent closures to the recent pauses in the restaurants to how you're affected. I think a big thing is divisiveness, and the country's divided, and I think that's a big reason why we we can't get open. Josh, what's going on in Georgia? You are in the beast's belly down there.
Yeah, yes, I am. I was in Florida a couple weeks ago and back in Georgia, and really doesn't matter where you are. I mean, this is hitting us hard. It's hitting us all over. I agree with you. We are divided, and typically we don't want to make this, that kind of show about politics, picking sides, but we want to talk about our industry. But quite frankly, it's all intertwined. There's never been a point in history where I can see that our industry was so intertwined with everything going on in terms of, politics and social landscape. Economics has obviously always affected our industry, but never to this kind of extreme. And hey, we're all scared here. We're all nervous. We don't know what's going to happen.
That's right. Here's something that I thought. Arkansas, just over social distancing, a brawl breaks out in a bar because somebody won't stand 6 feet apart. And
we're all nervous. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and this affects us. So let's see this while me and you share, Josh.
Go.
Little Rock Steakhouse Saturday night. Witnesses say it all stemmed over an argument over social distancing. Our Hunter Hoagland talks with the man who got it all on camera.
I talked to Seth Cruz earlier today, who took this video you see here. He says he and his brother were enjoying dinner at Salt and Grass Steakhouse when all of a sudden they heard screams coming from the bar. An argument over social distancing, turning into an all-out brawl.
All the restaurant employees, they were trying to help, and they were just in shock like the rest of us.
Seth Cruz, the one who hit record as the steakhouse shouting match played out for all to see.
There was a lady at the bar. She was crying. All of the waiters and waitresses were just like in awe, obviously.
A police report from LRPD says an employee saw the woman in the mask tell the two they were sitting too close, while at the same time coughing on other customers. That's when the man seen here in the USA shirt got even closer.
The guy came up and was touching on his back and giving a little shove, and so he just wasn't taking it. So that's when it started.
Seth's brother Wade seen in the middle trying to keep the peace, but after the glass bottle went flying, nobody was 6 feet apart.
When punches are being thrown and words being said, you're not really thinking much.
Cruz said it took around 40 people to break up the brawl, something he says could have been prevented from the get-go.
I think if some...
So that's what I'm talking about, right, Josh?
First time I've seen that. Yeah, I mean, look, we're all on edge. We're all scared. This is a bad situation.
It is. And I don't know how it became divided. I know everybody's an expert on YouTube, right? In the beginning, Dr. Fauci was the leading expert. His approval ratings were 90%. Everybody trusted everything he said. I mean, what choice do we have? I'm no expert. You're no expert. And then we get
gotta trust him.
Then we get a couple YouTube videos out with a doctor here, a doctor there, right? And says, yeah, hey, you know what? Masks are no good. Social distancing doesn't work. Well, at this point, it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment for the country. The European Union yesterday said, if you're from America, you can't travel to Europe.
They're laughing at us across the globe.
Yeah, and I'm not political, so I don't care if you like Trump, and I don't care if you hate Trump. The only thing I care about is getting back to work. And I'm on the second wave of hires. Today's the 1st. I'm paying bills today. August 1st. Am I paying bills? Is everybody paying bills? The stimulus runs out, and I think we have 3 more payments, maybe 4.
Yeah.
On unemployment, if you're lucky enough to get it. And we can't travel. There's different states that are closed down. So if you're from, I don't think you from Georgia can come up here to New Jersey. If you do, you have to sit in my basement for
oh no, it's
2 weeks.
100%. My brother came down with his family. They're visiting right now, and he's from New York. He came down here and he knew that, this was starting, and he pretty much predicted that he wouldn't be able to come back. And sure enough, he's down here, and then Georgia just hit the list yesterday, the Jersey and New York list. He can go back, obviously, but he's got a quarantine, which he pretty much does anyway. But yeah, it's funny also, another perspective I've gained him being down here is that he's like, look, it's all about attitude towards this. And he goes, in New York, everybody is you don't go into a store, whether there's a rule or not, about wearing a mask. Everybody's wearing masks. Down here, it's about 50-50, even now.
It's like the Wild West. My buddies are going to Florida, and they're saying, because here too, I mean, I have to wear a mask everywhere I go. There's 2 in the car, there's 2 in the house, because you get to Wawa, you get to the grocery store, wherever, you can't go in. You just have to wear a mask. I don't know why people won't wear a mask, because if that's all it takes to get us back up and going and work, all right, it sucks. The cooks in the back of the house, it's going to be hot as hell for them to wear a mask. I know the guys in my glasses fog up all night long. It's not going to be good. But if that's what it takes, Josh, we go back to make a living for a year. I'll take it gladly, right?
Of course. Of course. We'll do whatever we can to get back to some degree of normalcy.
Right.
Right now, I mean, when is that going to happen?
It almost feels like we're giving up. We're saying, like, you know what? We can't. It doesn't matter. Let's all go out. Let's eat. Let's party. Let's go to wherever we have to go. And
right. I understand
and take
that,
our chances and say, if you get sick, you get sick, and God bless if you're old or you have something. I see this, and I think it's almost cruel, right? Because
here's the thing, though. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize what's going to happen next. And what's going to happen next is, and because it's already, the groundwork's already been laid, and we've seen it happen to one particular area in New York where we had the full country's resources because it wasn't happening anywhere else. Now it's all over. And hospitals came very nearly to the point of not being able to take in new patients. And we're going to start to see that all over, because New York shut down completely when they were 3 weeks behind of where I am right now here in Georgia. We're 3 weeks ahead of where they were, and we're still not shutting down. We don't have good attitudes towards this. Some people do, but it's not enough. Everybody has to. And I mean, in a month from now, you're not going to be able to get into a hospital in Georgia. And when that reality hits everybody, you could say, okay, yeah, we're just giving up on it. But then you're going to see the real problems start.
Florida beaches closed for July 4th weekend. California beaches closed for July 4th weekend. I would love to hear, we both would. I'd love to hear from anybody in the industry. I know I have followers, California, Arizona, different places. Tell us what you're going through. A lot of people say, misery likes company, but I think it's better than that. I think it's when I hear from other people and realize that I'm not alone going through this, and they hear our stories, it kind of helps out, and it kind of lets everybody know that we try to be in this together, because I hate that, man. They're like, we're in it together. Well, I'm not. I'm home. you know. So Philadelphia yesterday, and talk about divisiveness. Pennsylvania is opening and closing by counties. It's not even like the state. So there have been some counties that have been offering indoor dining, and some counties that haven't. Philadelphia was going to, I don't know if it was this weekend or Monday, and now they said they're going to, indoor dining and gyms are closed until August 1st. And they came out with the date. New Jersey didn't say that. New Jersey said a couple, 3 weeks, something like that.
I thought it was indefinite in Jersey.
Yeah, but as he was talking in interviews, the governor said a couple weeks in one. He said a few weeks in another. We just have to see, but he didn't put a date. Pennsylvania said August 1st. Arizona said down for 30 days, and they reclosed. They were opened and then closed.
I think it would obviously be better if we had some sort of cohesive strategy towards dealing with this, which we don't. And, that means that we don't have any kind of clear answer as to when this is going to change. So you've been through a real roller coaster of, getting ready to go back to work, and then you were found out that you weren't getting called back, even though your job was going to be available, and then you realized that your job's not available anyway.
First,
Correct?
I thought I was going back to work today.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I found out that I wasn't going to be on the first wave of hiring, but I was assured that in 2 weeks that I would be back. And we're busy, Josh. Our first Saturday being like, if it was this Saturday, we're
Right.
allowed 80. Our restaurant, we work together there.
Right.
We were allowed 83 people in at one time, no more than 83 people. We had 65 reservations at 5:00. So we were off to a bang. We were going to be capacity from 5:00. We were going to make some money. We were going to do a couple hundred covers, and we weren't going to do 600, which we would expect on a normal 4th of July, but we were going to do 2, maybe 240. We were going to pull in a nice number. Everybody was going to walk home with some money in their pocket, and the house was going to make money. And then the governor said it shut down, which turns into, everybody's against the governor. Everybody's cursing him. Everybody, his comment line.
People can still stay in hotel rooms, correct?
Can stay in hotel rooms.
So
Everybody,
come to the
at least in
casino.
Atlantic City, Borgata's not opening up. They said that they cannot offer the experience that their customers are used to. And if they
Okay.
can't give the entire experience, they're going to stay closed until they can. That's paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Every other casino will open up. They're scrambling to offer some kind of food. In-room dining, room service, you can eat in your room. They are opening up some restaurants where you can go get a pizza or a burger or carrot, but you can't eat in the building. You got to walk outside or walk it back to your room. There's absolutely no alcohol consumption inside the building. You can have a water if you're gambling, and you can take the mask off, sip your water, and then put the mask back
I
on.
wonder what the reasoning is behind that.
The no alcohol?
Yeah, inside.
A lot of stories are saying that people are having a few drinks. They're loosening up. They're taking off the masks, giving high fives, shaking, hugging, bro hugs, hitting on girls, the stuff we all do in bars
Okay.
that we can't do now. And then, like you just showed that video at Arkansas, then people start fighting. You say, hey, can you back off? And then a fight breaks out. So
Bring prohibition back. Oh, boy.
So there's no alcohol consumption inside. So you can gamble. You can use the pools if you're a hotel guest. And I've heard some ideas, but it's not my job to say like which casino is doing what. But they are, if they have a patio, if they have outside area, they are setting up some tables. They're inviting guests in for functions. They're doing a lot of things like that. And I guess they're counting the beans and they're figuring they're going to come out ahead if they just let people come in and gamble. Everybody wants to get out, and if they do a good job, maybe they'll let us dine in. I don't know.
I don't know the overall plan. It's, you're just throwing shit up against the wall and seeing what's going to happen. It sounds like, and if the demand's there, it makes sense to do.
Right. And I think, like I said, 65 covers on a Saturday at 5:00. That's a good number. I mean, we would carry 65 and then every half hour we would be doing that. But I think,
oh no, you could wind up in the course of the night doing, 250, 300 covers at that rate.
Paced out correctly, right? Keeping a good head count. I think I've heard from other casinos saying that they're putting an hour and a half time limit on eating, because one thing that's been happening is once you finally get the opportunity to go out and eat, you're camping.
Yeah.
I'll have another Zambuca. Yeah, give me 2 more espressos. Like
absolutely.
Understandably, right? You haven't been out and relaxed in a long time. You just want to sit down for a couple hours and relax. And they're saying an hour and a half. So 6:30, they're going to try a seating. 8:00, they're going to try a seating, and so forth like that.
Well, think of it this way. Would you go to a casino if you had the wherewithal right now to do it? Go to a casino if you could stay in your room, use the casino floor, walk outside on the boardwalk there in Atlantic City, and still be able to do things like, and I know American Cut's not open, and I'm not familiar with all the restaurants that have reopened, but if some of their kitchens are open, you can get your to-go food. Go back up to your room. Go sit out on the boardwalk. Eat on the ocean. I mean, it sounds like a great vacation right now if you've been cooped up for so long. And I know you guys up there have been.
Right. And
I would do that in a heartbeat.
They are contacting some of their better players, the people that have the resources to come down and take a few days, and they're comping a lot. They're giving a lot of free stuff. They're doing, I know.
Now, don't get me wrong, for like people like us who work for gratuities, that doesn't help us at all, but it might be able to keep our restaurants intact for a while if this strategy holds up, at least where they're making a little bit of money.
Well, people like us that are working on tips, when we go into a restaurant and hey, JoJo's coming in a minute.
Oh, great.
A lot of people making tips and they're being called back and they're like, you're going to be on the takeout counter. Well, there's no tips there. And now you're down to minimum. So that really hurts the people. Here is, hey, JoJo, how are you?
JoJo. Hey, honey, what's going on? How are you?
Oh, in the grids.
Yeah, I know.
Trying to get this place open.
You are the general manager of Morton's in Caesars in Atlantic City.
Exactly.
So I did see a lot of your posts last week. You were getting ready. You were excited. I saw a lot of pictures of the dining room. Seems like you were excited last week. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Good to hear.
Stay positive.
Absolutely. So what was the last few days like? I was just telling Josh how it was for me, getting a call, not getting the call, then realizing to be closed down. What are you going through?
Well, I got the call while I was driving. As a matter of fact, we were already set up to open because we already had everything pretty much cleaned up and ready to go. All I needed was my staff to come in and get all the side work and stuff completed. It was a shock.
Right.
But then I went straight to my VPs and my RDOs, and then I checked. We have a contact here now in Caesars, and I asked for approval to do to go, and also if I could have outside seating.
So
wow, where are you going to be doing that?
Right in front.
Wow,
The
that's
foyer.
Cool. I always thought
outside.
I always thought that would be a great place to set up a couple patio tables. That'd be great.
The foyer is pretty nice. I have all the way up to the bellhop, and so I could fit about 10 tables there.
Okay.
And then you remember the patio that you go through the boardroom door to the side?
Sure.
That the cab drivers used to always use?
Yeah.
I'm pricing out a tent if I get something reasonable because it's just going to be temporary. I could fit about another 12 tables there.
Yeah.
And, get it really nice. And it's got a really nice, you could, starlight kind of atmosphere.
It's where all the people used to sneak out and smoke, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So,
so with doing your takeout menu, obviously, if there are people in the casino, have you talked to the casino about their occupancy? How many people how many rooms they're going to have sold out?
They're doing 25%. I know on the casino floor it's about 3,200 people, and then I think it's pretty much. I don't remember exactly the number he gave me, but I know it's about 32 on the casino.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So,
but he said,
are you going to do full menu or now? Because I mean, you guys were expecting to open, so you probably ordered product and everything like that. What are you going to do in terms of? Go ahead.
We were actually very lucky because when we closed, we came right in and we ciphered through the food and tried to save as much. A couple weeks prior, we had done full inventory and we had enough product. So I'm opening up with enough product. And then also, as soon as I got the call, the first call I made was, to Peter, my F&B.
Sure.
And we stopped the orders until we were definitely when we were gonna open. We're going back, and you will love this, Josh, because I know that you love this menu. Old school Morton's menu.
Oh wow! Yeah, I remember that simplistic menu. That was incredible.
Yeah, a very nice steak and potato menu.
Right. Yeah.
And then we have a lot of options also. Butcher blocks, raw to go.
Okay.
To take to
really, that's
grill
smart.
at home.
That's smart.
We have about 4 of them. We have the Grill Master, which is about $200, and you could just grill for like 6 people.
But any way you look at it or cut it, I mean, it's a whole different business model than what we're all used to.
Yeah.
We got to adapt. And
hey, Giovanna, thanks for calling in. Giovanna is, I did a show with her yesterday. So the creativeness is what she's looking at and how you are moving forward. And when you did hear the word from the governor, you didn't just call your bosses and say, okay, call me back in August. You said, how can we still give the experience? How can we still move forward? Are you bringing in waiters? Are they going to?
Tomorrow I'm going to bring in 3, but I'm bringing in multitask.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in contact with my whole entire staff
Sure.
from day one to now.
That's important.
And yeah, it's very important. I keep
Mm-hmm.
them. Josh knows I have a Morton's community page on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
for all past, present, and
I'm on it.
yes, he's on it. And I communicate and give him all the information there. Morale, boosting up their morale.
Definitely.
And like I said, it's very important. Like when you're in the industry, if you're a server, just don't be a server. Learn how to expo, learn how to bust. Because look, all those attributes help now when we're in a situation that we've never been in before, where you could use a server that did a little bit of bartending, a little bit of bussing, hosting, and all that, and you could use them as much. And then you bring in your staff slowly.
Right.
That way, they're still on their unemployment. You're not taking their unemployment away.
Yeah.
They still get that $600 bump. I don't want to, because you don't know the hours that you could give to them at the beginning. Because
And as a manager, you're thinking, if I bring them back and they make $200 this week, I basically made them lose $700 or
Exactly.
somewhere, so, and everybody's struggling.
I'll say this because Tara's been working. It doesn't really work out that way. You're able to make, I think, your first 300. If you make, let's say, $299, you don't actually lose a cent of unemployment.
Right.
You get your full state benefits and your full federal benefits as of now.
Mhm.
You can then make, on top of that, another $299 and still get $1 of state. And as long as you qualify for $1 of state, meaning you don't make over $599, you get the full federal. So you can make $599 and you'd just be making more money than you would just on unemployment alone.
Exactly.
So it's actually not a bad deal. What you don't want to do is you don't want to make over $600.
Right. Which
No.
this conversation probably makes a lot of people crazy, saying those people are making more money to stay home than they are to go to work, which drives me crazy because I'm not. And if somebody did make a couple more bucks a week over the last 3 months, God bless,
Right. Look, and there are people, like I know for a fact, JoJo's losing money on unemployment. I know you're losing money, Mike,
Mhm.
and I'm losing money on unemployment. Most people in our industry probably aren't. If you took the industry as an entire whole,
You're right.
most people probably don't. And I understand, people's animosity towards that. But I agree with you. For me, I could care less if they're making a couple extra bucks for a few months. But either way, we're going to have a huge problem on July 31st when the federal money runs out.
Oh, yes.
We're going to have a huge problem because we're not going to be able to open. I hate to be an alarmist out there, but you could just see what's going on. Everything's going to be closed down eventually. Maybe not where you guys are, because you guys are actually way ahead of the curve. As long as you stay ahead of it, you'll be okay. But in the rest of the country, where people aren't wearing masks, don't care, and people are getting sick at the rate of like 1,000 a day in my county, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, and they're going to have to close down. And who the heck knows when we're going to be able to open up? And that's going to be every restaurant.
Now you have the problem with the mask wearing. It's like an anti.
Oh, yeah. Did you watch the beginning of our show when we showed the fight in was that Alabama?
Arkansas.
No, actually,
Arkansas.
I was finishing up on, on a training session. But
It does seem. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's just so crazy how it's a mask. It's a little inconvenience that you have to go through for a short time. I mean, you don't have to run with it. You see people running with it in a workplace. It's just an inconvenience. I'd rather wear this.
It's a communicative disease. It spreads from person to person. I mean, we know you go into a hospital under normal circumstances, everybody's wearing a mask because they don't want to spread anything to people. It's just the way it is. All we're trying to do is implement that across all of society for a time. It's not forever.
No.
If that is the way we get back, because how else can we do it? And the other day I said something like this, and somebody commented in and they said, yeah, masks don't really work. And I thought, okay, maybe not 100%. I don't know, but they help. It's why we cover our mouth when we cough, right?
Mm-hmm.
To sneeze into our elbow. It's like, obviously it helps. So if it creates a few lower numbers, then we can get back to work. So I don't get it either. I saw somebody last night, and again, I don't care if people like Trump or don't like Trump. I want their comments if they're in the industry. And they said, Trump's losing out on the opportunity. Make a red mask, put "Make America Great" on it, and walk around with it.
You saw that?
Like,
Yeah.
go do it. Then great.
Yeah.
Then you're
Right.
got your campaign going, and everybody's wearing it, because it seems like if you're pro-Trump, you're not wearing masks, and if you're against Trump, you are wearing masks. And in my state, with you, Jojo, we have to wear masks. It doesn't matter who we vote for. We got to
Yeah.
wear masks no matter where we go. So if everybody just wore the masks, they said the second wave would be more expensive. It was going to hit us harder. And then they're saying, well, we're not really in the second wave. Well, we're heading there, and we're heading there quick. Our numbers
Oh, yeah.
are higher yesterday and today than they were back in March, when we were all just sitting home accepting this, I think that the protest had a lot to do with it. The news cycle went off the coronavirus, went onto the protest, then everybody got, both sides again divided, fighting against each other, whether they agree or disagree with that. And the news cycle went off, and everybody was like, hey, you know what? It's really not that big a deal. I'm not going to wash my hands when I go home. I'm not, I don't have the hand sanitizer in my car anymore. And everybody, it wasn't on top of mind, where unemployment is and money is. So that is, if this goes to 100,000 cases a day, like Fauci said it could yesterday, it will be on top of mind, because you'll know somebody with the virus.
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, Mike. I was in the hospital industry also.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
For 23 years. I'm in laboratory medicine. So it just astonishes me. It's like, I wear this not for me, because I'm breathing into it. I'm doing it to protect you, and to protect the person in front of me, and the person I might pass by, while I'm coughing or so forth. So it's just astonishing how, and it brings people back to work. Everybody could go back to work.
If I can go back to work with a mask, I'll go back to work with the mask.
Yeah.
If that gets me back to work, then I'll go back.
Yeah.
She makes a good point, and I've talked about it before, that she loves how you're reaching out to the staff, because a lot of people that I'm talking to, I say, what's going on with your job? And they say, I have no idea. Nobody's called me. And it doesn't matter if you had news or not. It feels good that your boss reaches out to you and says, hey, we're not there yet. This is what we're talking about. Things change. You're on my mind. It just feels good that you're still part of that. And
well, here more, I figure all restaurants are the same, but here, and Josh knows, because we still stay in contact and we all talk and everything like that. We're family. And, I just figured if I had my boss and my boss wasn't contacting me, I would be paranoid. How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to do this? Are we going to open? Are we not going to open? There's so many questions, and I'd rather hear it from my general manager.
even if it's bad.
Yeah. So I personally called them the day that I had to lay them all off. I personally called them after that. I told them, hey, this is what's going on. In the middle, I called them when we were about to open. I explained. I even asked, because some of the employees might have, childcare issues coming back right away.
Yeah.
Do you want to come with the first wave? Do you want to come with the second wave, and so forth? Because you just want. I want to make them feel comfortable so that they're coming back to place, where family's at. So, and they could always reach out to me, which they do. A matter of fact, when I found out that the casino decided not to do in dining, it was actually because one of my employees posted it on the Morton's
Page.
community page. So, and then immediately, because I was driving and it gave me a notification, and I'm like, oh my God. And I stopped, and then I checked. And so we keep each other in, what's going on, just in case.
Apprised of everything. Yeah.
I think if you're in the industry, you can definitely relate to the family atmosphere. And
Yes.
Giovanna said it yesterday. She said it's like when we fight with our brothers and sisters. Yeah, we go at it. We go at it with each other a lot. Manager to employee, employee to employee, but we all stick up for each other in the end. And it is like a dysfunctional family. That's what everybody always says, right?
Yeah.
So that sticking together now is more important. That's why I talked to Josh about doing this. And I thought if we could get a community around listening and talking about it, at least that there's other people in other states and other countries that are going through the same thing that we're all going through right now. When you
Well, it's
go-
actually, let me interrupt for a second.
ahead, go ahead.
It's actually interesting, the way JoJo comes at it from a different perspective than you and I might, because, we've always been, restaurants tend to be cliquey, and, we're servers. We typically hung out with servers, or, some of the, the essays that we worked with that we got along with better, or whatever. I find that with what's going on now, is that we have, same thing, a group chat that we can all communicate well with each other. And I'm talking to people and communicating with people that I don't even know who they are in the restaurant.
True.
People in the back of the house, I'm not sure of their face, but now they're somebody that I know, and I know their personality. And, I see this happening all over. And that is what you're trying to do, Mike, is bring us all together in one big restaurant community.
It is true that in crisis, you got to go to your people. Right. And our people are industry people. We're talking to our family more probably, and we're talking to our work family more probably. Here's Jakub. He texted in the other day. Now he's from the United Kingdom, which is cool. And what I think, he's going to training on Friday. He'll probably wear a mask or face shield. And that's the cool thing about this. He's in the United Kingdom. He's doing the same thing you're doing. You're bringing people in for training. They're going to wear a mask. So that's the UK. You can travel to the UK. Thanks for commenting in. I hope you keep joining us. What is we always talk about service and food. And Josh, you and I think would agree that service is more important than food. And I think every chef would agree that food is more important than service. But now, is it safety? Is that heads and feet above everything?
It'll be for a while. If
they feel safe and the food is okay and the service is okay, they can overlook that as long as you give them a good time, some hospitality.
How do you make people feel safe?
You tell us, JoJo. That's a good question.
Right.
It's apples and oranges. When I'm gonna the example, TJ Maxx opened last week.
Right.
And it's one of my little favorite stores.
Sure.
I like it now. And I swear the comfort that I felt going there was astronomical. They were sanitizing. They wouldn't let you go to the cashier until they sanitized from the last person and everything like that. It's just the appearance of when you come into your establishment, either in dining or outside, that they're going to be watching us.
100%.
Did they take off their gloves? Did they put on their gloves? She was talking, but she took down her mask. A lot of people, they're not aware of, like, it's 6. You see them riding a bike and they wear a mask. So they think if you put down your mask a second, you just put them at risk or something. So I think, in a sense, to make them feel comfortable is just make sure that your staff is actually sanitizing. We have to sanitize the table from the chairs from the top to the bottom before we seat that. Of course, you've heard everybody. It's roll-ups now,
right?
With the thing, we did roll-ups in the bar, so it's something that now we're transforming into the dining room. There's no glassware on the tables.
Are you putting anything out on the table? I've heard from a lot of restaurants it's completely naked.
Just a B&B and a roll-up.
Okay.
Yeah, just a B&B and a roll-up, and our staple lamp, the pig, that even gets sanitized after you leave. The doors are constantly, the servers wear gloves. And my whole example telling them, I said, just make, your table is your patient, and you're going to change your gloves after each patient because you don't want to cross-contaminate. And they're like, okay. And we go like that, and you got to wear your gloves and you have to wear your mask. And,
like now, lipstick stain on a glass for us in the business, it's like, it happens, it happens. It can't happen anymore. It can't happen. That you're not buying a free glass of wine now. Now you're buying a full meal. Yeah. And you lost a customer.
Or you might have somebody, get up and leave and make a scene.
You lost a customer. They're taking a picture and they're posting it on Facebook. This restaurant, I can't believe this. And now you have to work 10 times as hard to regain your reputation. And I think that puts a lot of pressure and anxiety on people going back and being nervous. A hair in your soup, we see it. We see everything because we live in restaurants, right? As a consumer, you don't see things that much. But a hair in your soup, and understandably, is unforgivable at this
After the
point,
break.
right?
Yeah. So on that note, I gotta go because I gotta do another training. But
Jojo, thank you for joining us. Great
Yeah, it was
seeing
nice.
you. Say hi to everybody for me.
I will. I'll keep you updated. I might pop in on Wednesdays just to see
Anytime.
How that works.
Yeah, do it.
That's
Come on in with
Okay.
us. I'm going to bring
All right.
Tara in next time too.
Okay.
Yeah, she texted me. She said she was gonna be on.
No, she lied.
So tell her next time.
Good
Okay.
luck, Jojo. Thank you.
All right. Bye, baby.
So, Mike, very interesting stuff. I don't know. I tend to think that the people coming out to restaurants and going out aren't necessarily super concerned about safety. Just my instinct. Not everyone. There'll be some that, and let's call it, let's call it. There's a spectrum. It's not a line. It's not black and white saying, like as divided as we are, it's not a line. We are definitely on some sort of spectrum on many of these issues. But I'd say on this specific issue, like myself, I've been out to eat probably 15 times since this all started, since we were able to go out to eat.
Right.
And I'm not a denier. I definitely believe that, we can get sick, and I'm just not in that kind of vulnerable category. So I don't worry about it as much. And then at the same time, I don't have anybody in my immediate life that is vulnerable. So
Right.
that's my feeling towards it. But I think that people that are terrified and they're not going out to eat.
I think that too. And I think that as you're going out to eat, I don't think that people are going to worry. They're going to say, no, we're good. We're going to a nice restaurant, or we're going to our family place, or we're going to a chain restaurant, or wherever they're going, and they're not going to have worries. But a red flag, if they see a busboy, somebody told me they were at this restaurant and they saw a busboy making the roll-ups, putting the silverware in there without
With
gloves
bands.
on, without gloves on.
Of course.
And that's crazy. And if they see lipstick on a glass, or if they see a hair, or I think we'll be forgiven if the food takes a little long. I think the normal stuff, you forgot the Diet Coke, I think that's all forgiven. Everybody will be generous and be compassionate. But there's certain things that will not be forgiven. And I think that could be a disaster to restaurants if they try to book too much, be too busy, because everybody's got a cell phone, and they will take a picture and they will put it up before they say anything to you, right? Allegheny County, a county in Pittsburgh. Hey, Steve, how are you? It's put into effect starting today that we can no longer do on-premise alcohol sales. You can still dine in, just no booze. They're punishing everyone for a small percentage of bars and restaurants that did not follow guidelines. That's the alcohol. What they're doing is they're saying nobody can handle their alcohol, and as soon as you do, you're not complying. And thanks, Steve. Good luck to you, brother. And that's what they're saying. And it's crazy to me. I mean, Pennsylvania's giant, but they're going county to county, because where we grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, they started indoor dining. That's a weird word. I mean, in-room dining means room service. Indoor, I don't know, dine in. I always get it mixed up.
You're not outdoor, yeah. I don't know.
But they're doing it, and they're doing it successful. I talked to a business owner that I know, actually a restaurant owner that I know yesterday in Pennsylvania. And we were just talking about what the differences are, what we're going through. And he said he took a drive. He was driving by restaurants to see what they're doing. And he said 6 feet apart. They're not 2 feet apart. He said they are packing them in. And he said, this isn't good, because they pack them in today, and 2 weeks down the road, you get pulled back. The laws change. People can't come in. I can definitely understand it. If you've been starving for the last 4 months, you got to open up and you got to try to bring some money in. Right. And
yeah, that's why I say it comes all down to individuals. Like big corporate restaurants, they can they have a lot of influential power over the industry, so they can negotiate with their landlords and stuff like that. They have that. But if you've recently opened up a business and you're in the red and you're behind the 8 ball, as soon as you get that first opportunity to be able to make money, you might bend a couple of the guidelines. It's just the way it is. It's going to come down to that individual choice that you make, not necessarily what the guidelines are.
Right. But somehow, some people, and maybe it's privilege, maybe it's resources, maybe if you have money, maybe if you have health. Obviously, a lot of young people, most young people I talk to, uh, they just think that it's no big deal. And I get it. When you're young, when you're 23, when you're 27, you feel invincible. You haven't got a serious cold since you were 12, and you have no aches and pains in your body. And you just think like, this is my time. I have to go out. I certainly understand that. That's why I think there should be a consensus from California to New York on how.
Of course, and that's why we have rules, because it's not just about them. They might be fine now, right? And next thing you know, we go around like this unfettered. Hospitals will get overwhelmed. There'll be people setting up tents outside because they have no room in the hospital. And then that same young person gets bit by a snake and then dies in a waiting line in a hospital because they can't get in. And that's when social unrest and panic will ensue over the whole entire country.
And as well, panic will ensue. I talk a lot with my buddy. We hang out like once a week, a couple waiters we get in his front yard. And as August 1st approaches quick.
And we don't have money.
Now there's desperation too. Now a guy who's been living, working hard his whole life is thinking about robbing somebody, right? Like you get desperate. You got to feed your family. You're going to lose your house.
Both concerns that you and I just brought up are going to be complete realities very soon.
If it doesn't change, by September, I know for myself. Listen, I'm on a countdown. I'm trying not to panic each day, but if nothing happens to help me either go back to work or supplement my income, I have to make some drastic changes.
Right.
And
of course,
and I think a lot of people are in the same boat, and we're just hoping. You're saying, people are telling me, I think the stimulus will happen again. Then they should talk about it.
Right.
Then they should say, we are talking about it. Believe me, we care about you people out there. We know that the restaurants are getting hammered. We know that
they're talking about nonsense. They're talking about a lot of nonsense going on out there.
Both sides. And I don't care who you like, both sides.
Course.
Whoever should come out and say, this is on our mind. We are worried about your health, and we're taking care of this. We are also worried about your they say we're going to stimulate the economy. Stimulate the economy does not help me in my house. Stimulate the economy means that Amazon does better and Boeing does better. It doesn't mean me and my buddies and you sitting in our house trying to raise a family. And that's more scary to me right now than being sick, because if they call me back, I'm going to go back whether there's a risk or not, because I have to. I don't have the choice to say I'm going to sit home for 6 months, wait till this blows over, and then I'll go back.
And you happen to be kind of lucky that you have you've been able to keep your health insurance, I believe, correct?
I have not.
You haven't? Okay,
because April 30th I lost it, and I could have gone Cobra, but it probably would have cost me 25% of my income right now coming in, maybe more.
And that's what I was going to say, is that I had to make the decision when this all came down, paid $1,200 a month in health insurance for a family of four.
Right.
And I'm like, we're going to have to make sacrifices. We don't know how long this is going to last. If I have to dip into my savings to get by for a year, I don't want to lose my house at the end of that year. So let's, cut where we can. And that was one of the first things I cut, was health insurance. It was $1,200. It wasn't particularly incredible health insurance at that. So I had to cut it.
And at the time that you cut it, you probably thought by June 1st, I'll be back to work.
Right. Yeah.
You probably didn't imagine going into July thinking that August is hopeful. I thought
the plan was all along, let's do this, do it right, do it hard, drop the hammer in the beginning, take care of this as a nation, then be smart in a reopening, and we won't necessarily have to worry about this by September. September was the eye on the ball I had, because that starts off our busy season. Right. And I'm like, we can get through this. We'll do it right for 3 months, get through a excruciatingly slow summer, and then we'll be ready to be up and going by September. And now I can't even venture a guess as to when that'll be.
Myself, my season runs out September 1st.
Right.
right?
I know.
And a lot of people do, because the country is all, it depends where you live to when your season is. So I need to get back to work before September 1st,
I know.
right? To get on that list. So then
Right.
I'm on the list, because if they don't bring me back by September 1st,
There's going to be no reason to bring you back after
they're going to say,
that.
we're going to be slow for the next 4 months. We don't need to bring the second
Right.
wave in. We got
Right.
through the busy part. We're going to keep it cheap for the fall, and we don't know what's going on. Also, one thing, I mean, to work hard, I have a buddy who's a restaurant owner around me here. So he
Mhm.
called me up and he said, I'm going to need you in July and August to work at my restaurant. Privately owned, good people. So I said, sure. I said, I don't know what I'm doing in casino, but I'm definitely in. So my first thought when they told me they were going to hire me in the second wave was, well, I got 3, 4, 5 weeks that I can go work for him, hump it
Mhm.
out. And then New Jersey, it's an inn,
yeah,
it's a restaurant
spot
that
on,
they
yeah.
don't have the patio. So I can't work either. So people say, well, just go get another job. I can't go get another job. And I can't get an average job that gives me my same living. I
No.
can't replace the income.
Jobs at our level are hard to find under normal circumstances.
If they say there's jobs, you can go work for this place or that place, you're right. I probably could. I can't survive on that, and I don't make big
Right.
money. I mean, I can't tell you, nobody's jealous of my yearly income. However, it can't be replaced with an average job or a low income or
Of course.
a beginning job, which is scary.
So where are we going? What's going to happen? I'd love to hear from other people and hear your concerns, and I would especially love to hear some uplifting breaking news. That would really make my day.
Anything good happened to you? Like anything that you say, you know what? During that thing, this was the positive.
Right. Exactly.
I would say that for me, I have a brother in California, a sister in Massachusetts, another sister in Pennsylvania. My parents are in Pennsylvania. We get on Zoom every Sunday in the afternoon, and we talk for
cool.
2 hours. And
Mhm.
I mean, unless we see each other, which is usually a year or 18 months apart or 2 years apart, we don't do a lot of talking on phones. We text here and there, and I don't see them. So now I'm seeing them every week. We're talking. My parents like it because they can see all their kids. Sometimes the grandkids jump on. Sometimes it's good that way. What's up, Chris? Vegas doing food and beverage in casinos. At what capacity?
Interesting question. Yeah. We had a girl on from Vegas last week. I'd love for her to chime in and give us some information on that.
Yeah, Giovanna's there.
My guess would be yes.
Peggy's from Las Vegas. Peggy, what is the capacity just for restaurants in general? 3 tables last night in a local restaurant in Vegas. 3 tables. I mean, that's scary. Giovanna said that masks just became mandatory in Vegas yesterday or the day before. Up until now, there were no. Yeah, that's what I just said. Peggy is from Vegas. Maybe she knows. I think her and Giovanna are friends.
Well, I'll say this: masks are not required in Georgia in restaurants. I know this because my wife works at one, and they are the company itself requires the employees to do it. But I've been to restaurants here where the servers, the managers are not wearing masks, and we are in one of the top 5 hotspots in the country. Yeah.
And you have to, but your wife has to wear a mask. The employees do, correct?
But that is the owner wants them to, not the government, not the state, not the county, not the state.
So there are many restaurants in Georgia where
Quite a
no
few.
employee and no customer is
few.
wearing a mask.
Quite a few.
Peggy says that Vegas restaurants are 25% capacity. That's what Atlantic City was going to open up with. The positive that I take from the pandemic is complete and total reset. Honestly, the service industry needed some time off to recoup. I hope now that we can breathe a little bit, be back, be thankful for our jobs. That's true.
I agree. When things go back to normal, when we hit our true normal, I think you will totally appreciate your life in a way that you've never done before.
I
than what
think
you have.
normal's going to be a while though, Josh.
Oh, I do.
I think
do
we got to
too.
go through. We got to go through some hard times. You know, Chris. The opening guidelines are a joke. Chris, you were just going to open up. Are you opened up outside? Because Chris is in Philly. Are you
You're in
open
Philly,
up
Chris?
outside? And they were just going to open up, I think, on tomorrow, maybe, or the next day. I don't know. And that stopped. So that probably put you and Danny in a bind right now, trying to figure out what you guys are going to do. Chris, you should come on with me sometime. I like your perspective, and you're outspoken, and it would be good. Join me and Josh, or pick a day, and maybe me and you will just chat. But yeah, it's scary. I mean, I look at it. It was crazy the other day, and then Sarah's from Arizona. How are you, Sarah? I have always prided myself on the ability not to show my guests that I didn't like them, but trying to please people and serve them with a good attitude will be very challenging. Well, I think the mask is going to help, right? Like you know, as long as when somebody's
they can't tell your facial expression. Just don't roll your eyes because they'll see that.
Yeah. But of course, thanks, Chris. But Sarah was open for a couple weeks in Arizona, and then they just closed down for 30 days.
That was smart.
But yeah, I mean, screws with your unemployment, right? You go to work, you get back to work, you have another waiting week, and maybe you didn't make money at work. I mean, I hear both sides. Look at. I'm going to pull a picture up. Let me see if I can do it because I'm not good on a computer, but I think I can.
We'll bear with you.
Okay. Can you see this?
Unemployment?
This is the unemployment line in Oklahoma. People are camping out because they opened up the unemployment offices, right? So now you can go and you can actually speak to somebody and you can say, listen, I think there was a mistake, or this is why I didn't get paid, or where's my $600? So this is catastrophe. This is this many people out.
Yes.
You know,
and I want you to take a good look at that line, because that's going to be the line into a hospital in 3 months, if not much sooner. And we have two ongoing crises that we've never seen before as a country, at least not in a modern country. And that is, we haven't had an economy like this. 47 million people lost their job, temporarily, permanently, whatever. We're not sure. You haven't seen numbers like that since the Great Depression, since 1929. On top of that, you have a pandemic going on, and you have people dying.
It is,
and
here's better look
at it. There you go.
But
throughout all this, something that you talked about in the very beginning is we have very, very divided leadership that doesn't seem to be interested in coming together and figuring out honest, truthful, realistic solutions to it.
Both sides, Josh.
I said that. I said that. Yes, both sides.
Because whatever side, I don't care if you like whoever you like or you dislike. It did seem like Republicans opened up quicker. It did seem like Democrats are getting beat up for not opening up. But then again, California, probably the most liberal,
Democratic, yes,
right,
yes.
state in the country. Their numbers are through the roof. They're as high as Texas. They're as high as California. So I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if you could even control it. But boom, Josh, hella point. That's your boy, Chrissy. Yeah. I mean, when those lines, you're right. When you're seeing lines at the food bank, and you're seeing lines at the unemployment office, and you're seeing lines at the hospital, it's a disaster.
Right.
And right now it's not personal, right? It's not. I know 1,000. Everybody I know is on unemployment, but I don't know anybody that's got Corona. I don't know anybody that went to the ICU. I don't personally, I've heard of a guy who knows somebody, but it's not 5 people in my family like that are on unemployment. it's not 95% of my friends that are on unemployment. So when that switches around,
and that's a really good point, because again, I'll say this again. My brother is here with my sister-in-law and their kids from New York, and the difference is, he said, is the attitude of everybody around. And where he is in Nassau County, which, you know, along with New York City, one of the most affected places in this country in the very beginning, they all know people that have not just had it, have died.
right?
My sister-in-law had somebody in her office who's passed because of coronavirus during this quarantine. I mean, somebody she worked with, just like you work with people, whether it was back of the house, front of the house, people right next to you, people in your restaurant. She had somebody in her office has died. My brother knows people that have died. It's just, you know, whether it's a good friend or, you know, somebody a little more far off, they all know. So it's real to them. To us, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody that's had it like you. I don't know anybody that's had it. Again, why, you know, I've been down here going around a lot of times without a mask. I've been wearing a mask a lot more. I've been more diligent about it recently. But that's why there's an attitude down here that doesn't really take it seriously.
Mhm.
But they will. But they will, because we're all destined for that, where we all know people that have died.
I know. And, you know, we make all our notes and all our conversations ahead of time, Josh, are about restaurants and how it affects restaurants. This is top of mind every single day. How am I going to make a living? When is my restaurant going to open up? Is this thing going to kill me? And that's where our conversation goes every day. But for me, hey, man, we'd be on the phone talking about the same stuff. So I like coming on Facebook. I like hearing people, the guy from UK, Jakub. And I hope people keep listening, because we're going to keep doing
Jojo, for coming on with us.
Fantastic.
We'll have you again next week, or the week after that, or every week after that.
I forgot to ask her, because I'm sure Morton's being corporate. I wanted to ask her, she's got to be on corporate phone calls or Zoom meetings with another 10 or 15 general managers from around the country.
Right.
And I wanted to ask her, you know, what their perspective is. Are they in a panic? Are they feeling confident? Are their customers agreeable to them? What's going on? You know, she got into talking some other stuff, so I didn't. But our hour's up, man.
All right, Mike.
It's like going to therapy, and the doctor looks and goes, "Your time's up, man."
I don't know how I feel, if it's better or worse after we have one of these. I'm glad that we're talking. Want to get some information out there, and we love, of course, learning and hearing information from anybody that chimes in with us.
Definitely.
I
I always think it's good, whether, you know, whatever interaction we get. I always feel better afterwards. And then normally throughout the day, 2 or 3 people will text me or something like that and give me their 2 cents, and I'll jot it down for the next time we talk. So
right. All right, Mike. Well, it's always great talking to you, buddy.
All right, you too. Hey, Gary. All right, Josh.
Gary, you're late today. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys.
All right, man.